Being a woman during these two 20th century regimes was not easy. Family was the center pillar of the community. Women were raised to be dedicated wives and mothers, educated to be submissive to father, brothers, husband. In Portugal, girls were allowed to go to school for 3 years to learn how to read and write and basic maths. They were taught the lesson of Salazar under the maxim God, Homeland and Family, the trilogy of national education. Further education was for the very privileged. Women could be nurses or air hostesses, but were not allowed to get married if so. Even women teachers could not marry just anyone. They had to ask for special permission from the government, and the husband had to earn more than them. The husband was the head of the family. He had to allow the wife to work, to leave the country, to open a bank account. Men from both countries had the final say when it came to contraceptives. Romania institutionalized a policy of population growth, going further into convincing the population that contraceptives were unreliable, unhygienic, and were only used by women of dubious character. In 1966, Ceausescu approved Decree 770, making birth control illegal for women under the age of 40 or with less than 4 children. It was otherwise only allowed if the woman's life was at risk or if she had been subjected to rape or incest. They could be jailed for up to 2 years. To award women who had 7 or more children and set up an example out of them, they were given the Order of Maternal Glory. To keep a close control on women, they had mandatory gynecological examinations in the place of work. If found pregnant, they were closely monitored to make sure they didn't have an abortion. Decree 770 resulted in 2 major setbacks for the Romanian woman. Firstly, most families ended up having more children than they could afford to raise, leading to starvation, violence, and the abandoning of children in state orphanages. Secondly, there was massive clandestine abortion, performed illegally by doctors, but most often by unskilled persons, thus raising women's mortality to almost unprecedented rates. Women who had undergone illegal abortions had no right to medical treatment. The decree was only revoked in 1990, 24 years later. In both countries, women should be housewives. Still, when necessary, they worked mainly in factories or agriculture. They had little to no access to white-collar jobs. It was impossible to even dream of a career as judges, diplomats, politicians, or even police officers.
Batatas como um homem e só me pagaram como uma mulher. E eu não bebia vinho e eles bebiam e eu ganhei só 50 e eles ganharam 100.
Women earned much less than men in the same job, even if they were more productive. It was unthinkable for the wife to earn more than the husband, and women had to refuse positions they were offered if such was to be the case. In Portugal, according to the still in force Penal Code of 1886, if a woman was caught in the act of adultery, the husband could injure her without penalty or even kill her, only incurring in a deportation penalty of 6 months. Considering the geography of Portugal, Spain could be the place of destination, at a maximum of 150 kilometers away. The same applied to the father of an unmarried woman. It was only revoked in 1975. Every fortnight, the Portuguese government published a magazine for the middle and upper classes women, donas de casa, housewives. They offered articles on how to care for the house and how to be a better mother and wife. It even counseled women on how to act if their husbands were cheating on them, if they were subjective to domestic violence, and so on. It also publicized the Ideal Woman national contest, emphasizing the good qualities a woman should have. In both worlds, it was unthinkable to even think about how discriminated the women were. Wars had ears and repression followed. Also, most were unaware of their situation, as there were no news or entertainment from abroad. Nothing to compare themselves to.